What's up, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Between the Cons.
Between the Cons!
My name is Kris, and with me today, Kris Too.
My name is Kris.
His name is also Kris, but he is the two. He is the Kris Too.
Because I got here second.
Yes, you did. That is how that works.
Them's the rules,
Second
guys.
place.
Yep.
First loser.
All right. I'm the best at losing.
I'm the best loser. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, lady, why is that? You're married. Anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in today. We got a fun pineapple episode for you. Lots of nerdy news coming out this week, so it's gonna be a good time. But before we get into that, thanks to everybody that's hit us up on the internet this week. Thanks to everybody that's left a review on the iTunes Store, Google Play Store, all those stores where you can find our podcast. Appreciate you. Yeah, pineapple episode. I mean, I guess we should just go ahead and do it. Give you guys some nerdy news. Hit those headlines.
Let's jump in. Yeah, get them pineapples.
Let's do it.
We're going to have a pineapple situation.
What should I do?
Pineapple. The word that cannot be spoken.
Pineapple.
Just want to say pineapple. If it's
Pineapples
too
are fun.
obvious.
My dad used to
Pineapple.
throw them at me.
Pineapple. Seriously? Wow.
So first up, we've got our first look at Domino from Deadpool 2.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Earlier this week, Zazie Beetz made her first appearance as Domino. In the picture, it was actually a throwback to that first look that we got of Deadpool,
Which I thought
way
was
back.
awesome.
Yeah, it was a great way to introduce her. You remember we had that first image of Deadpool, and he was lounging on the bearskin rug in front of the fireplace, and now
the Burt Reynolds.
The Burt Reynolds, yes. Much more covered up than Burt Reynolds was, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because of the scarring.
Yep.
And
Because
but here we have Domino. She's doing the same pose, except this time it's a Deadpool skin rug. It's Deadpool. Deadpool's laying on the floor, and she's
super
lounging
weird.
on top of him. Yeah, and
it's like boneless Deadpool.
Just laying there, laid out like a bear, probably giggling to himself. I don't know, but yeah, we got this first image. In it, she's wearing this black tactical outfit. Looks a lot like what we'd see from her in the comics. The real noticeable departure that people have been talking about and either saying that they love or they hate, whatever, is, well, first, I mean, in the comics, Domino is like a bleach white skin.
Yeah,
she's actually
pasty.
Mexican. Yeah,
Super pasty.
she's like an albino Mexican kind of, and because of that, because she has white skin, she has this black patch around her left eye. Well, Zazie Beetz is decidedly not pasty white.
Decidedly.
Yeah, definitely, clearly. I don't think she decided.
I mean, we
don't
can
know.
decide that right now. Right here, right now.
We're deciding Between the Cons approved, not white. So because of that, they made the choice to the patch around her eye is a white patch instead of a black patch, and I don't know what you thought of it, Kris.
Because that's how inverse
awesome.
colors work. Yeah,
Exactly.
It makes perfect sense, and I think she looks amazing, and I love the super big fro. I think that's awesome.
Somebody I was talking to compared it to Beyonce's fro from
Well,
from
I just
Austin Powers.
I saw Atlanta, so
Oh yes.
I have seen Atlanta, so I know what she looks like.
Yeah.
So it's not like super far off for
No.
me because I've seen Atlanta.
Not at all. And but yeah, she looks great, guys. It's so if you haven't seen her picture, head on over to any of our social media pages and check out the picture. We posted it. It looks dope.
Bryce times.
But so, and I mean, if you don't know who Domino is, I mean, you've got the internet, but basically she's another one of
You've
these.
got the internet.
You can look it up, but we're here to help you out. She's an amazing fighter, got amazing tactical skill, but she also has this well, let's just call it her
power.
her power of luck.
Yeah, I mean, she's a mutant.
That's the whole thing. So her mutant ability and kind of works. It works really great in Deadpool stories too. For Deadpool being the kind of character that breaks the fourth wall, for her having the ability that can just turn luck to her favor.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it is it's a telekinetic.
Yeah,
it's a telekinetic, like psionic ability to alter probability in her favor.
And it's really a really cool idea for a mutant power, and has really been explored in a lot of fun ways in the comics. So she's going to be in the new movie. I'm
so excited for that because I think it's going to be really funny, like, because it's not an active power, like it's a passive power. It's not something that she actively does.
And it's also one of those things that if you're not paying attention, you may not notice that it's happening.
Right. But I think there's going to be a lot of like comedy around it.
Absolutely.
And
where
really
Deadpool's just freaking out like, how in the world did you do that? What? Yeah. So we don't know much about the plot yet, but early rumors do suggest that the sequel will take a page from Lethal Weapon, and it's going to go kind of the buddy comedy route.
Great.
With lifting again from the comics, where these characters first started out, there's going to be an adversarial relationship between Deadpool, Domino, and Cable, because let's not forget he's in there as well.
Right.
Throughout the film, before they inevitably team up near the end against the big bad that's going to be in the movie. So there will undoubtedly they'll be getting under each other's skin. Deadpool doesn't exactly play well with others, or I guess if nothing else, he just annoys the crap out of everybody. But eventually they'll all get together and they'll work together, and it'll be a lot of fun. So a lot of cool things to look forward to. And now we've got our first look at Domino. We think she looks great. Why don't you go on our social media pages, take a look, and let us know what you think. Pineapple.
So Marvel's doing this thing coming up called Marvel Legacy, and it's gonna be like a one shot, but just like a mini series kind of thing. And it's really cool because it's gonna do a lot of throwbacks to like storylines that have happened in the past. Marvel Legacy, kind of the thing there. But
that's the word.
To kick it off, they're starting with Avengers 1 million BC. So it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's the first iteration of the Avengers, and it's taking place over 1 million years ago. And it's super cool. They released the first image of it this week, and I'm really excited to read it. It looks excellent. But for those of you wondering who the Avengers are, like who the members are, Starbrand is going to be in it. The first Iron Fist is going to be in it. Black Panther, Ghost Rider, which looks really awesome because he's riding a flaming mastodon, or woolly mammoth.
Yeah. And it's just screaming the whole time.
Yeah, right. Just ouch!
I'm guessing.
And then Agamotto, which I think I said already, who's the ancient Vishanti that aided Doctor Strange. Eye of Agamotto, that's where the name comes from. Phoenix, the original Phoenix, and Odin is going to be leading the front. The father of Thor, which I think is awesome. It looks super cool. There's only one image out there that I know of, and it's the promo image. It's called The Past, or the tagline for it is The Past is Present, and I think that's super cool. But the first issue is coming out September 27th, so end of next month, and it's going to be a huge issue. It's going to be a 50-page issue, which is like reminiscent of like the old school giant sized, which I think is really neat. But it looks excellent. I'm really excited about it.
And I mean, this is not the first time Marvel has done let's throw back to an older period with our characters. They had the Marvel 1602, and that was a really cool.
Yeah, that was a super
run,
cool
and
series.
so this could be. I mean, this one also looks like it's going to be a really fun, just kind of another exploration of the characters. And yeah, the first images we've got just looked awesome.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know what 1602 is, it's like a Victorian era Marvel. It's really, really, really cool. You can pick it up in, I think they have it volumized.
They do, yeah.
And I think it's one primary storyline, and then there's another one that's a spin-off storyline, and it's super neat. It's really cool. The story's good, not great, but it's more for like the wow factor, the coolness of it. I definitely recommend reading it. It's a fun read. But yeah, so Marvel Avengers 1 million BC coming out end of September. Check it out. Pineapple.
So I've got some bad news for all of you 3D movie fans out there, whoever in the world you are. I don't know. IMAX is ditching 3D.
Wah, wah.
Wow, no, darn it. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of like really boring stuff having to do with, it was their coming out during their second quarter fiscal reports and all that stuff. But in all of that, IMAX Entertainment CEO Greg Foster said in the earnings call that especially also following the recent success of Dunkirk, and the company also has done some analysis of their earnings, proved that consumers in North America have a clear preference for digital 2D versions of Hollywood movies. Quote, "It's worth noting Dunkirk was showing exclusively in 2D, which consumers have shown a strong preference for. The demand for 2D films is starting to exceed 3D in North America." And again, there's more stuff that came out of it, but the long and the short of it is they're seeing that people are wanting to go see 2D movies. Now, I'm sure a big chunk of that has to do with the fact that 2D is just not as expensive as 3D.
Right.
And a movie is still perfectly good in 2D, you would hope.
Yeah, I mean, when you catch a late night...
IMAX alone is already more expensive, and then if you throw a 3D price on top of that, it's going to be
That's what I was going to say. Like, if you go to a movie on like a Friday night, IMAX 3D, like you're easily spending $20 a ticket.
Yeah.
Because it's like $13 a ticket plus a couple bucks for IMAX plus a couple bucks for 3D. Like by that point with tax, you're looking at least $20 a ticket.
Easy.
Just to get in the door.
And then then that's not even taking into account. You got to get the popcorn and the sodas and
right. And
so
there was a really good point, and I share this opinion, is 3D is a really awesome thing when the movie is made for 3D.
And of course, everybody points to probably the most successful utilization of the 3D technology was Avatar.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful film.
Yeah, it really was. But that's not enough to justify every movie being in 3D.
Right. Especially with the costs involved.
And even beyond that, I mean, I know that we've got more Avatar movies coming out sometime in the future. James Cameron keeps promising, but who knows? But all that being said, Avatar, the movie's more memorable for the visuals than necessarily the story. I couldn't name for you, I probably couldn't name for you two characters from that movie.
Yeah, I couldn't either.
And there have been plenty of movies where we have either using practical effects or CGI that weren't in 3D that you are very memorable because the stories were really good, and we didn't need 3D to get it up there. And that's the problem, is that I think the movies that have really utilized 3D technique have fallen short in other areas that ultimately I don't think it really justifies the cost. Add on to that, a lot of filmmakers hate using 3D.
Yeah, like I went and saw Rogue One in 3D, and that was cool, but it wasn't like I didn't have to see it in 3D again.
And the majority of movies that are quote 3D are 3D, and because of they do it in post production, they weren't even shot in 3D.
Exactly.
So you get like maybe a little bit of added depth. Maybe there's a single moment that they really tried to punch it up a little bit. But for the most part, you're not getting anything. All you're doing is you're wearing glasses that slightly darken the film, and that's it. So it's that combined, also we're seeing television manufacturers have completely stopped production of 3D sets in 2017. Like I said, the majority of filmmakers don't like using 3D, and it's notable that he mentions Dunkirk in this quote because Christopher Nolan is notorious for despising 3D filmmaking because he really likes the old school way of doing things.
Yeah, well, Dunkirk was available in like 15 different formats, and none of them were 3D.
No, and so that is also, it's just interesting to note. But really, the question then comes, 3D was a fad in the 50s, and then it went away, and then it was a fad in the 80s, and then it went away. And so the question is, are we seeing the kind of beginning of the end of this iteration of the 3D fad technology? Is it going to kind of dwindle away, maybe not go away completely, and then before, I guess, whatever the next big technological advancement is going to be? Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm personally not upset over it. I've never really enjoyed a 3D movie. Even seeing Avatar in 3D, it was like, wow, that was visually amazing. Boy, that was expensive though.
Right. And I think that's the thing is once the technology continues to grow and it becomes more cost effective and they're able to create a movie-going experience without glasses, I think it'll be different.
Yeah.
Until then, I don't see it changing.
And until then, I guess we'll just have to wait. Although it is interesting, just because it's IMAX doing this, they're stopping 3D, but they are also like developing virtual reality centers,
right?
Where you can step into an immersive VR experience, strapping into high-end rigs and stuff like that, kind of like Ready Player One. So even though they're dropping 3D, who knows? This may be the baby steps towards an even more immersive experience.
Right.
Who knows? Who can say?
I wouldn't be
We
mad
just
about
get to go along for the. I wouldn't mind trying it out either. Yeah, we just get to go along for the ride. So until then, say goodbye to 3D IMAX and Pineapple.
So David Ayer, while back, left Suicide Squad. For bigger and better things, so he thought. One of them being Bright on Netflix, which is the Will Smith cop movie about like he's partners with an orc,
and they're fairies and magic wands. And...
like fantasy world, which is gonna be super neat, I think. But he also moved on to Gotham City Sirens, that'll be starring Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. So when he kind of backed out, director named Jaume Collet-Serra stepped in, and he was going to replace Ayer as the director for Suicide Squad 2, which is tentatively called Hell to Pay. Suicide Squad Hell to Pay. Unfortunately, he has dropped out of Suicide Squad. I feel like Warner Brothers has this problem often. But he's dropped out. No real word on who's stepping up to direct. But it is going to start shooting, according to Joel Kinnaman, it's going to start shooting sometime in 2018. So I'm sure we'll hear soon about who that's going to be, since, we got all that stuff. But the best part about this whole thing that I find just most hilarious is Jaume Collet-Serra left Suicide Squad 2 to direct, listen here, Jungle Cruise from Disney.
Wait, the ride?
The movie based on the ride.
Yeah.
Starring The Rock Johnson. Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Of course it is. Oh.
Which is hilarious to me because Dwayne Johnson recently dropped out of the Shazam movie where he was going to play Black Adam.
I know.
So it's like kind of a double whammy for Warner Brothers and DC, with Jaume Collet-Serra and Dwayne Johnson backing out for a Disney movie based on a ride at Disney World.
And it's a ride that's literally just, we're going to go on this ride through the jungle river. Oh, we're going to see some animals. There's some animals.
Oh, man, it's so funny. It's so funny to me.
Well, I don't know. All I'm holding on to is like, hey, we've got Wonder Woman 2 coming out confirmed, and that's...
Yeah. But on a potential good note, I mean, Joss Whedon did step up to finish Justice League. So potentially...
made some big reshoots or additional shoots. He wasn't just like he was just finishing touches. He was doing big stuff. But
he's going to be working on the Batgirl standalone film. So it kind of seems like Joss Whedon is a DC guy now. So there's potential that he might step up and take over Suicide Squad 2, which is a totally different type of movie.
Yeah.
But I would not mind seeing that happen because he's a funny guy. And I think he would be able to direct that well.
I would hope so. Also, I just got to say, just because of either the irony or maybe just the existential dread attached to
garbage
with this director,
dumpster fire.
Well, I mean, and Joe Colette Sarah, he basically had a choice between Suicide Squad 2 and Jungle Cruise.
Yeah,
and he's a successful director,
right?
And he had to choose between those two.
Hey man, follow the path of success. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, it's like, hey, Disney's gonna pay me a lot of money, and I guess families will really go. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's like real out of his norm, like both of those, anyways.
Yeah, it's
because like his whole past is pretty much like horror and thriller.
Yeah, from
a directing standpoint. So
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was weird and kind of funny.
It's funny in that sad, groaning kind of way, but okay.
It's funny in the way that you laugh to keep from crying.
Yep. That's you've summed up the life of a DC fan right now.
Pineapple.
Speaking of groaning, I didn't even mean to do this. Matt Groening, the creator behind Futurama and The Simpsons. You guys may have heard of it.
Maybe you know the names.
Maybe you know the names. He's got another animated series coming out called Disenchantment. It's going to be on Netflix. Netflix has given the series a 20-episode pickup. And the series is described as an adult fantasy about a crumbling medieval kingdom known as Dreamland. The central character is a hard-drinking princess called Bean, her elf companion Elfo, and her personal demon Lucy. So basically, Matt Groening, he did Futurama back when there was a lot of sci-fi series, especially things like Star Trek and stuff on TV, and he was picking that apart and having fun with it.
Right.
And now that we have shows like Game of Thrones, it's wildly popular. It kind of looks like that's what he's taking a stab at. We've had Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and he's
made
Game
his
of
whole
Thrones.
Career on satire, so might as well keep up with the times.
And so that's what this looks like it's going to be. Kind of, if you will, the Futurama episode of where they did D&D and Bender's Big Game or whatever. Something like that is what I'm imagining. So,
but an entire series.
Yeah, I mean, I love Futurama and I love The Simpsons up to like season 10.
I loved The Simpsons once.
Yeah, there was a time, and it's still around, kind of like the family member you wish would just go home. But it's also been announced that Broad City's Abby Jacobson is on board for the voice cast, along with Nat Faxon and Eric Andre. So, and the first 10 episodes are targeted to premiere next year. So, yeah. So, I mean, I enjoyed The Simpsons before, and I really love Futurama, so I'm excited. I'm all about seeing what if Matt Groening's got another good series in him that we can all enjoy and laugh at and endlessly have memes of. So,
fingers crossed
all day.
All day.
And pineapple.
Hey listeners, my name is Dave Cole and I'm the Dungeon Master and host of a new Dungeons & Dragons podcast called...
Dave, say no more. They'll be enchanted by one of my songs, and then they'll be hooked.
No, they want to hear about how we slayed great beasts.
No, they want to hear about magic and sorcery and spellcasting.
They will listen for the story, the rich history, the lore.
Or we could just roll the dice and let fate decide.
You're right. If you haven't listened to The Four Orbs yet, find us at www.fourOrbs.org or whatever podcast app you use.
The Flash.
He's
TV
fat.
show on CW. He's also a superhero. Danielle Panabaker plays Caitlin Snow, who's also known as Killer Frost. She's a interesting character on the show because Killer Frost is bad villain. And Caitlin Snow is like a part of Star Labs and helps the Flash and like fight crime, which is weird.
And sometimes she's nice, and sometimes she's a wet blanket,
and sometimes she's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of season 4, there was a lot, end of season 3, there was a lot more attention on Caitlin Snow as Killer Frost. She began to develop the powers, and they started actually becoming uncontrollable. And then you kind of started seeing like the inner battle of Killer Frost versus Caitlin Snow, and like seeing who would win out in that. So Danielle Panabaker has actually talked about Killer Frost being even more so in season 4 of The Flash. And she said that fans who love Caitlin Snow won't be disappointed, and fans that love Killer Frost won't be disappointed. So that's cool. That's a weird thing to say, but it's cool. But she, one of the things she talked about was, one thing that she had talked to the writing staff about was she wanted it to be explained, like super clear, why Killer Frost was so evil. Because of that inner battle that was happening that we saw unfolding on screen. She said, I'm not totally sure why everything she does, she being Killer Frost, causes the physical body of Caitlin Snow to act so badly. So I'd like to know a little bit more about her motivation and why. So she said that, which means I'm assuming since the show premieres in October that doesn't get answered early in the season. But I'm sure
not, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure it's something that's going to get addressed eventually, because I feel like that's a question that a lot of people have, especially with Killer Frost not necessarily being an A-list villain for a lot of mainstream fans. That was like the most hoity-toity statement I've ever said, I think. But I think it's really cool. I really enjoy The Flash. I really enjoy Arrow. I really enjoy Legends of Tomorrow. They're all super cheesy, I know, but I like them. They've got a whole lot more going for them than the DC movies do.
Yeah. Once you accept that that it's CW cheesy, then you just get beyond that. It's
like,
a
lot
of
easier
fun
from
stuff.
there.
There's a lot of fun stuff in these shows.
Oh yeah. So that's a cool thing. It's really short. I just wanted to bring it up. I thought it was neat that we're gonna be able to see more of the Caitlin Snow, Killer Frost carry into season 4 of The Flash.
Woo.
Pineapple.
Yeah. So now we've sorry. I was looking at the wrong thing. We've got some news talking about Warner Brothers and DC, or I guess, but
it's a DC heavy episode.
It is, and not intentional at all. But legendary voice director Andrea Romano pretty much directed our childhoods, and she's been a voice director for Warner Brothers Animation since the 90s all the way to today. And it was announced on Monday that she is set to retire from the industry at the end of this week. She has had a long and incredibly successful career in the business. She's gotten more than 35 Emmy nominations, 8 wins. She started out with the 62 episodes of DuckTales, and she's the original DuckTales, and has worked all the way up to Netflix's Voltron Legendary Defender, which I'm pretty sure Outlaw Steve Jr. really loves to watch.
Yes, he does.
I have not gotten around to it, but I've heard really good things about it. But just to give you an example of the things that she's won Emmys for: Animaniacs, Freakazoid, Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, Pinky and the Brain, Pinky Elmira and the Brain. She also helped create SpongeBob SquarePants, Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Legend of Korra, Justice League the Animated Series, Reboot, The Tiny Toons Adventures, on and on and on.
Much.
This woman has been huge part of just the animated landscape, again, of our childhoods. Has had a lot to do with the DC Universe animated films. In total, she has directed over 1,600 episodes of television, 50 movies, 23 of which are DC Universe animated movies, and 20 video games. And when I say that she is a giant in the industry, I'm not overselling it. And I love the DC animated movies, no surprise, and a lot of them are really, really good. And I would watch the behind the scenes stuff, or usually when they would do teasers for the next one to come out, inevitably she would be on the behind the scenes stuff talking about the characters and what she envisions for them. She's been a big force behind it, and sadly she's leaving the voice industry, or she's stepping down as director, I should say. Apparently she's still going to be somehow involved, but I got to say, I'm sad to see her go, because she's done amazing work, and I'm sure every single person listening to this podcast, you all love at least one thing that she's had a hand in creating.
Here's a crazy stat. If you go to all titles with Andrea Romano, it's 2,696 titles that she is credited for something on. That's insane.
So she's been a little busy since the 90s. So her retirement is well earned. We got to say,
since the Jetsons.
Yeah. So let's we all bid her a fond farewell, because she's done amazing work. You know what we should do? We should try to if her schedule's coming up, we should try to get her on a Meet the Geek episode.
I mean, she is free now, so.
So, Andrea, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on the episode the podcast. It'd be great.
Yes.
So, but we say with sadness that she's leaving, but also with love. Thank you, Andrea Romano, for all the amazing work you've done. Yeah, pineapple.
So I talked about The Flash a second ago. I'm gonna do it again. So, The Flash.
It's a good show.
The Flash, yeah. Well, and had a little bit of news drop.
Yeah.
So The Flash. I don't even know how to deal with this right now. They've cast the character of Ralph Dibny for season 4. Hartley Sawyer is going to be playing Ralph Dibny. Ralph Dibny is a superhero by the name Elongated Man.
Yeah, he is.
For those of you familiar with more of the Marvel side of things, Elongated Man is very much in like Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And he's elastic, agile, he's weird.
Yeah.
And he's smart. He's super smart. He is.
Yeah, he's not to be confused with Plastic Man, another DC character that is basically Mr. Fantastic.
Right.
But yeah, so
because
he's
Plastic Man, basically the main difference between Plastic Man and Elongated Man is Plastic Man has no limit.
Yeah.
Whereas Elongated Man, you stretch him too far and he'll snap.
And Also, Plastic Man was a criminal at first, and then he became good. Whereas Elongated Man, when he first appeared in the Flash stories, he was suspected of being criminal, but actually he was a good guy. And he's a detective. He's pretty much always been on the hero's side, and he's much smarter. He's a well-trained investigative detective.
Yeah. Well, Hartley Sawyer, he's not really been in much that I know of, or that I know about. I know he's been in a lot, but nothing I know anything about. He was in a TV show called Caper. He was in The Young and the Restless, actually, for 56 episodes, which is crazy. He's had like a handful of one-off appearances in handful of shows like Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23, NCIS Los Angeles, stuff like that. Weirdest part is how old like these actors are that are like sliding in as like early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
He's 32.
He's older than me.
Yeah, he's 32 years old.
Wow.
And it's weird to think about stuff like that. Because like Danielle Panabaker is going to be 30 this year. And like all these actors are passing as like early 20s.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has that younger look, but
oh, for sure.
Yeah, he's man.
But yeah, that's really all I had. I don't really have a lot of news on it. I just saw that they cast Ralph Dibny, and I was like, why do I know that name? And then I looked it up, and I just laughed for a long time. So there's that. But yeah, I'm sure we'll be getting some more information on how Elongated Man is gonna affect the show, what kind of role he's gonna take within the show. We'll see. Pineapple.
Okay, so if you guys have Chris, have you ever been to the Wizarding World in Orlando?
I have not. No.
Oh, well, you better hurry up and go.
I want to.
It's my wife is a huge Harry Potter fan, and I'm a Harry Potter fan as well. And so we've been a couple times now. We first went shortly after it opened, and then we went again after the second part of the park, Diagon Alley, opened, and now you can take the train between the two, and it's really cool. It's definitely worth the trip. It's definitely worth the tickets. Very immersive, great experience. But did you ever happen to go to Islands of Adventure before Wizarding World was a thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So because like growing up, we went down there a lot. I'm originally from Florida, and so we went to Orlando, and we went to Disney and Universal a lot. So when Islands of Adventure opened up, there was a roller coaster there, the Dueling Dragons. It was awesome.
The best.
One of the best roller coasters. Like still on my list of like top 5 roller coasters I've ever been on. I love it. Dueling Dragons was at the time was in the section called Merlinwood of the Lost Continent area.
Yep.
And it was, and no surprise why that got changed, but it was, and that's the area that's now been turned into the Harry Potter Wizarding World, because before it was just kind of a mishmash of ancient sort of fantasy,
like
era
medieval stuff.
But the Dueling Dragons was awesome. It was really cool.
It was super cool. I actually had the pin.
Yes.
For the roller coaster.
Oh my goodness! It was, for one thing, it had the status of being the world's first inverted dueling roller coaster. Dueling because it was designed to have 2 separate tracks dubbed fire and ice, and these 2 tracks would run at the same time, and they would intertwine, and they would duel against one another, and it had the iconic moment where they would come right at each other and then pull away, and they would come within.
And it was horrifying.
12, yeah, like that was a ride you had to wait in line to get in the front, so you could see the other car coming right at you, and then you'd pull away at the last second, and you would pass within 12 inches of one another. 1 foot, you would come within one another.
It was so good.
And it was so advanced, like the ride's computer would even weigh the 2 coasters every time, so it would make sure that as they ran, it would always come together at the same time. So it was a great ride, you guys. If you haven't gotten to go on it before, it also, I mean, back then it also had the entrance where these two gigantic fire and ice dragons, and the whole queue lines took you through this amazing castle, and easily one of the best. Like the entrance itself and the walkthrough was just as much part of the experience as the ride itself. Well, then it was when Wizarding World came along, it was redubbed the Dragon Challenge, and it was the Hungarian Horntail and the Chinese Fireball, and they would duel with one another. But more or less, it was basically the same thing. And it's still been a favorite ride for park goers. I still love going on it.
It's still the same ride, just with a new name.
Yeah. Well, Universal has now announced that the Dragon Challenge will be closing down on Tuesday, September 5th.
No.
In order to make room for a brand new, quote, highly themed Harry Potter roller coaster.
What does that even mean?
So
it better be Quidditch. That's all I'm saying.
So first, a couple things to take away from this. They haven't given us much in the way of information. All they've said is that it's highly themed. They have used the words roller coaster, so hopefully it will be a roller coaster. Because as much as I love the other rides, I still love a good roller coaster, and I want them to have at least one in that part of the park. Also, we should remember that, I mean, it's been 18 years since the Dueling Dragons opened, and I don't know if you guys know this, but Orlando is really wet and humid and
rusty.
These big metal rides can only last for so long before they have to be refurbished. And matter of fact, they did it just a couple years ago with the Incredible Hulk ride, where they pretty much replaced the entire track. And if they replace the entire track, it's the exact same ride, just everything redone. So they have to do that just to keep it safe. So that's not surprising. But apparently the Universal's decided to take advantage of the need to replace the ride to do this new, more, I guess, specifically Harry Potter themed roller coaster.
Yeah, and Dueling Dragons was repurposed. It wasn't the Dragon Challenge was repurposed. It wasn't its own Harry Potter ride. It just, how do we take the Dueling Dragons ride and make it a Harry Potter ride, since it's now in the middle of Harry Potter world? And
it just so happened to work out that there are dragons in one of the Harry Potter books.
Exactly.
So it worked out great for them. They redid the whole queuing at the beginning, so you're walking through now some Hogwarts looking rooms and stuff. Yeah. And it was still really cool. You got to walk by the Goblet of Fire and all that fun stuff. And it's still a really good ride. But as a roller coaster fan, it makes me sad to see it go, because it's one of my top 5 roller coasters I've ever been on. My only hope is that they don't make it like a
kiddie ride.
Don't make it like a kiddie ride, or they've got a couple of those rides at Wizarding World that are, it's sort of like a ride, but it's a lot of 3D screens. The Forbidden Journey, the one that's inside the giant Hogwarts castle, is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Then they have like an Escape from Gringotts ride in Diagon Alley that is not as good. So I'm hoping that it will be more roller coaster, or if anything else, maybe it'll be, if they want to, I could see them working in some special elements as well. Maybe something like the Mummy roller coaster that they have at Universal. I don't know, but yeah. So if you want to ride the Dueling Dragons / Dragons Challenge before it's gone forever, September 5th is when it's closing. So get your tickets now, folks. And one other thing that we must sadly bid farewell to.
Right.
Pineapple.
So finally, for today's episode, and in the most I don't care fashion, there's going to be a Transformers spinoff movie for Bumblebee, which is neat. It's a neat concept. The Transformers movies have gotten worse and worse over time. So I'm not excited about it at all. I'll be lucky if I actually watch it, or I guess they'll be lucky if I actually watch it.
Yeah, they'll be lucky to pry my money out of my cold, dead hands.
Right. But the lead role was recently cast. And it was cast with John Cena. John Cena! Yeah, John Cena is going to be at the front for just staring you right in the face of
Boy,
the
I'll
Bumblebee movie.
Well, I'll tell you. You know what's been missing from my Transformers movies experience
Wrestlers.
is just a guy walking in the room and all the Transformers screaming John Cena. Yes.
Yeah. I'm not excited about it. I don't think that's a good idea. Travis Knight, who did Kubo and the Two Strings, is directing. So like that's pretty much the only thing it has going for it right now.
Yeah. That was a great movie. And this doesn't sound like good at all.
Yeah. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird. Haley Steinfeld is also in the movie.
Really?
As the main young person. I'm
not a Hollywood actor. I don't know what goes into their contract negotiation things, but you gotta wonder when an actor's success has hit a certain level of success and has made some good movies, why they would ever sign on for things like this. And I'm not even saying that for like an arrogant they're better than being in a Michael Bay movie. It's not. It's just why there's got to be other stuff that you can do.
Like,
Are you wanting to be in these? Is it an actor checklist thing, or is it just a phone something in so you can make some money so you can go do something more fun? I don't know. I don't understand it.
Yeah,
I really don't.
Haley Steinfeld was in True Grit. She was a girl in True Grit, and that was
great.
Pretty much the last good movie she made. I'm looking right now. Ender's Game.
Oh, she
Pitch
was in
Perfect
Ender's
2, Game. Barely Lethal. She was in Bad Blood, like the Taylor Swift music video. The Edge of 17. She's going to be in Pitch Perfect 3. And she's going to be Charlie in Bumblebee, name of the movie. But yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know how I feel about anything Transformers anymore.
I will say, like, it doesn't make me mad. It doesn't make me sad. It doesn't make me feel anything.
Yeah, like
I feel nothing.
I would have never called myself a fan of Transformers, but I liked the Transformers. I enjoyed Transformers. Never a fan of Transformers. And if anything, if the movies have done anything over the last like 10 years or so, however long they've been going, it's made me hate Transformers. Like it has made me not become a fan of Transformers.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. I didn't really have a lot to bring to the table other than John Cena is going to be in it as the lead dude. John Cena. Pineapple. And that's it. That's it for the show. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Sorry we ended it on that note, but you're welcome.
Downer followed by there were a couple of downers in there at the end, just sad things. So sorry guys, we didn't mean for that to happen. It just happened to us.
It's just the way the world turns, boys and girls. But if you guys are interested in sponsoring the show, check out Patreon, Amazon, Satchel. Check out our website, betweenthecons.com, where you can stream our episodes online, link out to our social media sites. If you like our theme music, check out Ifixa. You can find him on Bandcamp or by going to betweenthecons.com/Bandcamp. And finally, make sure you guys tune in on Monday, because we're going to be back. We're going to be reviewing The Dark Tower, starring Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey, based on the Stephen King series, because that's coming out this weekend. It's going to be a real good time. Hopefully. I hope it's going to be a real good time.
We'll find out if they've forgotten the faces of their fathers.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to use that. I hope it's terrible now. They have forgotten the face of their fathers.
Well, we'll find out on Monday, guys.
Right. So tune in, subscribe every Thursday and Monday. We've got new content for you. So subscribe to the show on YouTube, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, pretty much anything. that you can subscribe to. You can subscribe to us on it. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend. Go see Dark Tower, and we will talk to you on Monday.
Bye.
Now you're naked.